Seas Truth Channel.
Thank you for coming to Seas Truth Channel. Today's title is called The Dragons. I would like to start at Psalms chapter 18, verse 6. In my distress I called upon the Lord and cried unto my God. He heard my voice out of his temple, and my cry came before him, even into his ears. Then the earth shook and trembled, and the foundations of the hills moved and were shaken, because he was wroth. There went up a smoke out of his nostrils, and fire out of his mouth devoured. Coals were kindled by it. Out of his mouth go burning lamps, and sparks of fire leap out. So I would like to go to 2 Samuel chapter 22, verse 7 through 15. In my distress I called upon the Lord, and cried to my God, and he did hear my voice out of his temple, and my cry did enter into his ears. Then the earth shook and trembled, the foundations of heaven moved and shook, because he was wroth. There went up a smoke out of his nostrils, and fire came out of his mouth devoured. Coals were kindled by it. He bowed the heavens also and came down, and darkness was under his feet. The fallen angels dwell in darkness. Revelation 12:12. Therefore rejoice, O heavens, and you who dwell in them. But woe unto the earth and the sea. With great fury, which means wrath, the devil has come down to you, knowing he has only a short time. So let's go to 2 Samuel chapter 22, verse 11. And he rode upon a cherub and did fly, and he was seen upon the wings of the wind. So he needs a cherub to fly. And he made dark pavilions around him, dark waters and thick clouds of the skies. Through the brightness before him were coals of fire kindled. The Lord thundered from heaven, and the Most High uttered his voice, and he sent out arrows and scattered them, lightning and discomfited them. The Lord trieth the righteous, but the wicked and him that loveth violence his soul hateth. The Lord Yahweh hates. Our Father in heaven is love. It is impossible for our Father in heaven to hate. The Lord Yahweh hates. So now we're going to go to Job 41, verse 16 through 23. And what I'm doing here is I read you all of the scriptures talking about Yahweh and how basically he sounds, and his description sounds like a dragon. So I would like to go over Leviathan and how Leviathan has the same features as Yahweh. Job 41:16, verse 23. I'm sorry. Job 41:16 through 23. Starting at verse 16. His scales each is so close to the next that no air can pass between them. They are joined fast one to the other. They cling together and cannot be parted. Its snorting throws out flashes of light, and its eyes are like the rays of dawn. Flames stream from its mouth, and sparks of fire shoot out. Smoke pours from its nostrils as from a boiling pot over burning reeds. Its breath set coals ablaze, and flames dart from its mouth. So Its snorting throws out flashes of light. And here we can see that there went up a smoke out of his nostrils, and fire out of his mouth devoured. Out of his mouth goeth burning lamps, and sparks of fire leap out. Flames stream from its mouth, and sparks of fire shoot out, just like the Lord Yahweh. Smoke pours from its nostrils as from a boiling pot over burning reeds. Its breath sets coals ablaze, and flames darts from its mouth. So coals of fire are kindled by the Lord, and the Lord sends out arrows and scatters them, just like Leviathan. Verse 22. Strength resides in its neck, dismay goes before it. The folds of its flesh are tightly joined. They are firm and immovable. I would like to go to Job chapter 41, verse 32 through 34. It leaves a glistening wake behind it. One would think the deep had white hair. Nothing on the earth is its equal, a creature without fear. It looks down on all of the haughty, and it is king over all that are proud. Whenever you look up the root of proud, it means majestic wild beasts. So Yahweh is the king, God of the earth, and he works in the children of disobedience, just like the prince of the power of the air. The breath of life from Genesis 2 can also mean wild beast. So whenever you review the description of Yahweh and King David versus the description of Leviathan and the Lord Yahweh have the same features, and they do the same things. So let's go to Job 1:16. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, The fire of God is fallen from heaven, and hath burned up the sheep and the servants, and consumed them. So let's remember that the beast in Revelation has power to bring fire down from heaven. Right here, the fire of God has fallen from heaven. Once the disciples were with Jesus, and there was some people mocking Jesus, and the disciples said, Would you like for us to call fire down from heaven like Elijah did? And Jesus said, You do not know what spirit you are speaking of. Jesus didn't like the fact that they asked this. Only the beast can bring fire down from heaven. Elijah did not bring fire down from heaven in the name of God the Father in heaven, or Christ. Elijah brought fire down from heaven in the name of the Lord Yahweh, who can bring fire down from heaven. For he is the beast of Revelation. He brings fire down from heaven so that those on earth will worship him as God. Not to mention, a dragon brings fire down from heaven. So this next topic in this paper is called the fallen and the darkness. And the angels which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, he hath reserved in everlasting chains under darkness, under the judgment of the great day. Next is 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 4. For if God spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell and delivered them into chains of darkness to be reserved unto judgment. So these fallen ones are reserved under darkness. Everlasting chains under darkness. The Elohim delivered them into chains of darkness. Exodus 20:21. And the people stood afar off, and Moses drew near unto the thick darkness where God was. This is Yahweh, Elohim. 1 Kings 8:12. Then Solomon spoke. The Lord said that he would dwell in the thick darkness. 2 Chronicles 6:1. Then said Solomon, the Lord hath said that he would dwell in the thick darkness. Amos 5:18. Woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord Yahweh. To what end is it for you? The day of the Lord Yahweh is darkness and is not light. These dragons and the Lord Yahweh dwell in darkness, like a fallen angel. Do you remember in Revelation when the dragon was cast out of heaven? The dragon was cast out of heaven and thrown down to the earth into darkness. The Lord Yahweh dwells in darkness. These fallen angels dwell in darkness. You mean to tell me that our Father in heaven dwells in darkness too? Are you kidding me? This is not our Father in heaven dwelling in darkness. This is the Lord Yahweh dwelling in darkness. And he is fallen. So the connections. And what I'm talking about here is there is two different dragons. Revelation 12:3. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. So this is a great red dragon with 7 crowns. Revelation 13, verse 1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. So this dragon right here has 10 crowns. This dragon in Revelation 13:1 is in the sea, stands upon the sand of the sea. This dragon here appeared in heaven and has 7 crowns. This dragon has 10 crowns. There's 2 different dragons here. The red dragon casts comets to the earth. After the comets are cast down, the Yahweh Elohim / dragon is cast down by Michael the archangel. This is where Jeremiah 4 verse 23 takes place. I do believe, anyway. The Yahweh beast rises out of the sea after being cast out. The wounding of the dragon. Revelation 12:9. The great dragon was hurled down, that ancient serpent called the devil or Satan, who leads the whole world astray. He was hurled down to the earth, and his angels with him. Where were they hurled down to? Down to the earth, and they were chained under darkness. Isaiah 51:9 and 10. Awake, awake, and put on strength, O arm of the Lord. Awake, as in the ancient of days, and the generations of old. Art thou not it that hath cut Rehab, which is the sea monster, and it also means to be confused and boaster, and wounded the dragon? So the Lord's being asked right here, Are you not the one that wounded the dragon? So let's go to Revelation 12, verse 7. Then a war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angel fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back. But the dragon was not strong enough, and no longer was any place found in heaven for him and his angels. So these people asked, Art thou not it that hath cut Rahab and wounded the dragon? No, the Lord Yahweh did not wound the dragon. Michael is the one that fought the dragon. And the dragon wasn't strong enough and was cast out of heaven and down to the earth. Michael wounded the dragon. I think the Yahweh are trying to play God would most certainly take credit for the wounding of the dragon. However, it is quite clear that Michael wounded the dragon and cast him to the earth, not Yahweh. For Yahweh is the dragon. So, Yahweh tries the good and he hates the sinners. Revelation 12:17. And the dragon was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of God, and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. So the dragon wants to make war with the righteous, who keep the commandments of God. Psalms 11:5. The Lord trieth the righteous, which means the Lord tempts the righteous. But the wicked and him that loveth violence his soul hateth. So the dragon wants to make war with the righteous, and the Lord tries the righteous and tempts the righteous. Proverbs 17:3. The fining pot is for silver, and the furnace for gold, but the Lord trieth the hearts. The Lord tempts the hearts. The Lord tempts the righteous, and our Father in heaven does not tempt any man. Neither is our Father in heaven ever tempted to do evil. But the Lord Yahweh tempts the righteous. The Lord Yahweh is the dragon, and the dragon is the one that wants to make war with the righteous who keep the commandments of God. James 1:13. Let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of God. For God cannot be tempted with evil, neither he tempteth any man. The Lord Yahweh tries the hearts of men, tempts them. Our Father in heaven, Elohim, cannot be tempted with evil, and neither tempteth any man. Luke 15:2. And the Pharisees and scribes murmured, saying, This man receiveth sinners and eateth with them. This is talking of Jesus. The Pharisees and scribes were Jews, and they said, This man, being Jesus Christ, receiveth sinners and eateth with them. Yeah, here we go. Psalms 11:5. The Lord tries the righteous, but the wicked and him that loveth violence his soul hateth. So the sinners, his soul hateth. And we can see right here that Jesus Christ receives the sinners, and he eats with them. Jesus Christ and Yahweh Elohim are not of the same tree. They are not of the same Father. They are working against each other. 1 John 2:11. But he that hateth his brother is in darkness, and walketh in darkness, and knoweth not whither he go, because that darkness has blinded his eyes. Think of all those people in the Old Testament that relied, believed in, had faith in the Lord Yahweh. The Lord Yahweh dwells in darkness. I showed you that he dwells in darkness. Darkness brings about blind eyes. Darkness brings about hate. The Lord hateth the wicked and the violent. The Lord is in darkness. That darkness has blinded his eyes. I will put enmity between thy seed and her seed. So this fallen dragon went against his own mother and brother and wanted to destroy all of God's children, to rise his throne above all of them. And he wanted to be like God, the Father. Yahweh is the beast. Revelation 13:2. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth was as the mouth of a lion, and the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. Hosea 7:8. This is the Lord Yahweh speaking. Therefore I will be unto them as a lion, as a leopard by the way will I observe them. I will meet them as a bear that is bereaved of her whelps, and will rend the caul of their heart, and there will I devour them like a lion. The wild beast shall tear them. The Lord Yahweh is calling himself a lion, a leopard, and a bear, and he is calling himself a wild beast. The beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth was as the mouth of a lion. Yahweh is the beast. Revelation 13:3. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wandered after the beast. And they worshipped the dragon which gave power unto the beast, and they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? People worshipped the dragon and the beast. And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name, his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints, and to overcome them, and power was given unto him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. So it was given unto Lord Yahweh, the beast, to make war with the saints. Above we can see that Yahweh tries the righteous. If you are trying and tempting the righteous, you are at war with them. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. All that dwell upon the earth shall worship him. Not a few, not a couple, but all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life. Now think about who most of the world worships. All the Abrahamic religions, Islam, Muslim, Christianity, Judaism, they all worship Yahweh, aka Jehovah, as the one true God. So unless the Bible is lying about the whole world being deceived, all these religions are pushing forth the worship of the beast. Do not worship Yahweh Elohim. He is the beast. He is the dragon. And he is not the true Father of Jesus Christ. Revelation 12:12. Therefore rejoice, O heavens, and you that dwell in them. But woe to the earth and to the sea. With great fury the devil has come down upon you, knowing that he has but a short time. So let me ask you something. Is it not Yahweh who has great wrath and fury? Is it not Yahweh who oppresses, murders, destroys, and corrupts the people through temptation? If you think Yahweh is the Father, then you are giving the Father the fruits of the devil. And that alone is speaking volumes of how good you truly believe the Father in heaven is. Wake up and smell the blood of the God you're worshiping. Wake up and see that our Father does not bear the fruit of evil. The devil was cast out for his violence. Worshiping Yahweh as the Father is saying that the Father is no better than the devil himself. Wake up, people. This Lord God of the Old Testament is not the Father of Jesus Christ. What is the red dragon's purpose? Revelation 12, 4 through 6. And the red dragon, being wormwood, stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered to devour the child as soon as it was born. Why would the red dragon want to devour mankind? Romans 1:23. And they changed the glory of the uncorruptible God into an image made like corruptible man, and to birds, to four-footed beasts, and to creeping things. The reason that the red dragon wanted to devour her child as soon as it was born is because mankind, or DNA, the knowledge of the serpent, is parasitic. Wormwood, being the red dragon, or Nibiru, well, wormwood, as the plant, is an extremely powerful anti-parasitic. Whenever this red dragon returns, it's going to dissolve the earth. And those who have the Spirit of the living Father in heaven within them will be transfigured. Everything else will be dissolved. This red dragon did not want humanity to come. This red dragon wanted to destroy the parasite. The reason it wanted to destroy the parasite is because these Yahweh Elohim, Lucifer, the fallen angels, Elohim, changed the glory of the uncorruptible God into an image made like to corruptible man. Into an image made like to corruptible man. This is saying that us being here was not the will of the Father in heaven, but the Father in heaven, if you believe in His Son and you listen to His words and you seek Him, He will adopt you into His kingdom through His Son, Christ, who dwells in us all. We ain't supposed to be here, people. Not in this form. We were not made by the Father in heaven. We were made by the Yahweh Elohim. We were created by the Elohim. The Elohim are the children of the Most High. Read about it in Psalms 82. So, an overview of this paper is the Lord Yahweh has the characteristics of a dragon. Leviathan has the same characteristics as the Lord Yahweh. The fallen dwell in darkness, and Yahweh dwells in thick darkness, just like the dragon of Yahweh dwells in darkness. There are two different dragons. One is a great red dragon with 7 crowns. The other is a beast rising out of the sea with 10 crowns. Yahweh tries the good and hates the sinners. And Jesus eats with the sinners and receives the sinners. Yahweh is the beast. He claims to be like a leopard, lion, and a bear, and the beast in Revelation 13 is like a lion, leopard, and a bear. Yahweh makes war with the saints. Yahweh tries and tempts the hearts of the saints. All that dwell upon the earth will worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life. The devil has great fury and has come down to the earth. The Lord Yahweh has great wrath, great fury, and he has come down to the earth. Can you guys not see what's going on here? Is it not clear that this Lord Yahweh is not playing a very nice game? That he is definitely not giving us good fruits? He is considered a God of war. He is the oppressor. He is the one calling himself God. Yet he is not God. He is calling himself the Most High. And he is not the Most High. So I thank you for coming. I ask you to please like, share, and subscribe. And have a great day.